What is green card lottery? Or rather, what is the diversity visa lottery? Green card lottery is one of the pathway, one of the methods of one person to become green card holder of the United States. I've been repeating the word green card. What is green card? Green card is the card which is green. Yes, it is card which is green. But that is the official nickname of permanent residence status of the United States of America. So when someone says I'm a green card holder, it means the person is the permanent resident of the United States of America. And the diversity visa lottery, yes, it is a lottery. It is a random selection of people who are supposed to apply, and if you win in that particular lottery, you become a permanent resident of the United States of America. In the mid or early 1990s, the United States introduced something called diversity visa lottery. The key word here is diversity, meaning the United States aimed at bringing more diversity in the United States of America. And we all know that the greatness of the United States is its diversity. So the countries which has low number of representation, the low number of immigrants, and by immigrants in this context, according to the immigration law in the United States, immigrants are people who are permanent residents of the United States of America. So the countries with less than 50,000 immigrants, 50,000 people with a green card, and the green card obtained through family or through work. If in the last 5 years that country has more than 50,000, the country is not supposed to participate in the diversity visa lottery. And the countries with a low number of representation, low number of immigrants, low number of people with a green card based on family or work, those countries are eligible to apply for the diversity visa lottery. So the purpose is to bring more diversity for the countries with a low number of immigrants in the United States of America. And the lottery is done on annual basis. Each year, from the first week of October until the first week of November is the application time, and the results come out on the first week of May, and the interviews start on October to start that particular fiscal year. Why was the diversity visa lottery established? The reason as to why this diversity visa lottery or green card lottery to be established in the early 1990s will be able to find out. It will be providing the criteria which countries are eligible to apply for the diversity visa lottery. The purpose is relying on the keyword diversity. That's why it's called diversity visa. It's the visa to establish or to bring more diversity in the United States of America. So the countries with a low number of immigrants, and the number here is referring to 50,000 immigrants in the past 5 years. And those immigrants, by immigrants we mean people with a permanent residence status. If a country has more than 50,000 in the past 5 years, people got green card based either on a family sponsorship or with the work sponsorship, that country is removed because it has more immigrants. And the country with low immigration is immigrants, those countries will be eligible to apply. In Africa at the moment, only Nigeria is not eligible to apply. But it doesn't mean that when the country is not eligible, it is ineligible forever. No. The country can be eligible this year, can be not eligible next year. For instance, in the DV 2022, one country, for instance, Guatemala was not eligible country. 2023 DV was eligible. Venezuela was not eligible, was eligible, then was not eligible, based on the number of people who obtained the diversity visa in the past 5 years. So each year, in the month of September, going to October, they go to update which countries are eligible to apply. So the reason to establish the diversity visa lottery is to bring the more diversity in the United States of America. And for that particular case, is going to determine which countries with low immigration or low number of immigrants and which countries with a high number, and those countries are not eligible. And remember, we'll be talking more about eligibility, but in a high value level summary, eligibility to participate in the diversity visa lottery is based on the country of birth, rather the citizenship you possess. We'll go into detail about who qualifies, being born in one country which is not eligible, marrying to another person from the country which is eligible. How does that play a part in the diversity visa lottery? The costs of applying the diversity visa lottery. How much do you need to have? How much should you pay in order to apply for the diversity visa lottery? According to the Department of State, according to the US government regulations, application of the diversity visa lottery is 100% free of charge. There is no requirement to pay a certain fee in order to apply. When you go to apply in the month of October, during the application time, to fill that form until you complete, it is free of charge. The only cost you have are the cost either when you go to the studio to take a professional photo to apply, or on your own you find someone who knows how to fill the form properly. If you pay that person, you pay that person. But the form itself is free of charge, which I usually encourage people to fill the form on their own. But if you don't, or you like someone else to fill, if you pay someone, that fee you pay is not the fee to fill the form, is the fee for someone to help you. So I want to distinguish, because some people go to ask someone else to fill the form and they think that is the fee for the visa, for the application for the lottery. No, application is free, but the fee you can pay as individual. But when you win the diversity visa lottery, yes, there are certain fees you need to pay. Those fees, we'll talk them later, because that is until you win. But the application itself is 100% free of charge. Don't get scammed with the process of applying. But if you want someone else to fill the form for you, then you ask that person to fill the form, and you pay whatever you agree, whether it's for payment, whether it's for free, is you and that particular person, but not you and the government. The government doesn't charge any person to fill the visa form, to fill the DV lottery application form. When is the correct time for you to apply for the diversity visa lottery? You have to know that you don't apply for the diversity visa lottery anytime. This is the point where many people are getting scammed, because they just go, oh, I want to apply for the green card lottery. They search and they come to find out, oh, there is this website, blackplus.com, is now apply for the diversity lottery, and you apply, you are going to be scammed. As I've been saying over and over, the application of the diversity visa lottery, first and foremost, is conducted by the government, not by any agents. And that website for the government is www.dvprogram.state.gov. And if you go to that particular website, you will not see the form right now. The form you will be able to see at the time of application. And each year, application starts from the first week of October until the first week of November. The actual dates for the application time is going to be announced in the middle of September. So if you are trying to apply the DV lottery out of the month of October up to the first week of November, remember, you are not applying the correct application. The application is supposed to be to that particular window. You might ask yourself, why in the month of October? Because October 1st is the new fiscal year for the government of the United States of America. So when you go to the year 2022 in October 1st, it means that is 2023 for the government. When it's 2023, October 1st, technically that is the year 2024. That's why the fiscal year determines the name of the DV lottery. When we say the upcoming DV lottery is DV 2024, it means you are applying the year 2022 in October, which in the government that is only 2023. The results will be coming out on the May 2023. Interviews are going to start in October 2023, which technically will be already in 2024 for the fiscal year in the government. I don't want to confuse it so much, but just know that the application is starting from the 1st of October until the 1st of November, and the dates will be announced in the middle of the month of September. And you must use the correct website, dvprogram.state.gov. That is the correct website and not any other website which will be allowed to use to fill the form and win the diversity visa lottery. What is the official website which you are supposed to use to apply for the diversity visa lottery? What is the website for green card lottery application? If you go to the Google search and type the word green card lottery or diversity visa lottery, you will find hundreds and hundreds of search results, and the majority of the search results are not the official website of the diversity visa lottery application. The application of the diversity visa lottery is done only in one website, only by the government of the United States, which has the authority to operate, to conduct the lottery application. And you must know that any U.S. government website or the department of the U.S. government must have the domain ending with .gov, means the abbreviation of .government. If any website ends with .com, .net, .org, whatever it is, that is not the government website of the United States of America. So if you are applying to any website and that website doesn't have the word .gov in the end, know for sure you are not filling the proper form of the diversity visa lottery. So the website is www.dvprogram.state.gov. dvprogram.state.gov. DV stands for diversity visa, and it's a program, so it's DV program, diversity visa program. .state means Department of State. Department of State is the Ministry for Foreign Affairs, which is in charge to apply and issuing the visas for people to come to America. And then .gov, government of the United States of America. So if you go to those websites, usafi.com, whatever.net, whatever website they call it, those are not the official website. If you fill there and you started paying there $2, $1, $5, $10, whatever it is you pay by credit card, debit card, Western Union on the particular website, remember you are going to be scammed. US government doesn't have any official or any agents they are going to fill the form on that form and then they are going to move there. No. So be careful which website you will be using to fill the application form for diversity visa lottery. What are the requirements for someone to apply for the diversity visa lottery? The requirements are based into 2/3 aspects. Number one is the country of birth, the nationality. That's number one. Number two is either of the two, either education or work experience. Or we can say education and or work experience. We'll go in detail to talk about what is the country of birth or nationality. What does that mean? But also, when we come to another part, is education and or work experience. What level of education is required, or what is work experience required? Does it mean anything you have as a work experience will be able to be applicable? Why some people are getting denied the visa despite of winning? It will come down to either someone doesn't meet these requirements, either nationality, they say they are, or the education and or work experience, they don't meet those requirements. Country of eligibility in the application of the diversity visa lottery. When you are going to fill the form for the diversity visa lottery, there is a question, country of birth. You put the country of birth. Then the following question is, are you claiming the eligibility of the diversity visa lottery based on the country of birth? The answer is yes or no. Majority of you, the answer will be yes. Because eligibility to participate in the diversity visa lottery is based on the country of birth. It is not about citizenship. For instance, let's say you are from Rwanda, but at the time you were born, maybe your parents are Rwandese, but they were refugees in Tanzania. They were refugees in Uganda. They were refugees in Congo. The country you were born is Uganda. So your eligibility is Uganda, is not the citizenship currently of Rwanda. So don't put the country of eligibility as the country of citizenship. I know majority of you, the country of birth is your country of is your citizenship. But remember, there are people who are born in Kenya, but they are from Somalia. The country of birth is the country of eligibility. Forget about what passport do you have now. Forget about you have dual citizenship. You have two countries as a citizen of maybe Tanzania, citizen of Kenya, and a citizen of maybe South Africa. Your eligibility will continue and you will forever be the country you are born. And once you win, you will be AF as Africa, or AS as Asia, or EU as in Europe, or OC as Oceania. And this is confusing people. Let's say you are Kenyan and you decide to go to Canada, and you are born in Kenya, you are Kenyan by citizenship, you go to Canada, you become a citizen of Canada, you are dual citizen. You'll be allowed to apply for the DV lottery because you are still Kenyan, you are born in Kenya. But if you are born in Canada, as Canada is a country, you are not eligible. The country of birth is Canada. But there are some people are born in a country which is not eligible. For this context, at the moment, Nigeria is not eligible. So let's say you are born in Nigeria. Even if you're Tanzanian, but if you are born in Nigeria, you are not eligible to apply. But assume you are married to someone from Ghana, you will be eligible to apply based on the country of eligibility of your spouse. So the question will be, place of birth is Nigeria. Are you claiming the eligibility based on the country of birth? It will be no. And if it's no, you put the country of eligibility of your spouse if your spouse is born in a country which is eligible. So that's how it is. So don't confuse the citizenship and nationality or the country of birth. I've seen so many people, especially people born in other countries, they are winning and then they are denied the visa because they put a wrong country of eligibility. And sometimes not just because of the confusion of maybe you are a refugee or your parents were in another country. Some people, because it's a scroll down menu, so instead of maybe, for instance, Kenya, someone select Kiribati or Korea or another country. So that is the problem people are having. So make sure you put the correct country of eligibility. Work experience which is required in the diversity visa lottery. First and foremost, when you are going to the diversity visa lottery form on the day of application, in entire form, there is no any place where it will require you to put how many years of work experience you have or a particular work experience you have. So in the filling of the form, there is no any place where you're supposed to put the work experience. But once you win the diversity visa lottery, in the visa form, the famous form DSC 260, the department is stated form number 260. When you are filling that form, that is where you're supposed to be filling the work experience. So I'm going to categorize this into two areas. You must either have a education or you must have work experience, which is required for you to be able to be given the visa. So in order to be given the visa, you must have either high school education. And even if you have high school, even if you have bachelor degree, even if you have master's, even if you have doctorate, still the place of work experience, you need to put work experience. But you are not required to have all evidences to prove that you have work experience if you have high school education and above. But if you don't have high school education as a minimum, you are required to put a very good work experience. And we are saying you must have 2 years of qualifying work experience. So 2 years of qualifying work experience, it means not every work experience is going to be allowed. There is a proper website from the Department of Labor. That website is called the Online ONET website. In that website, you can put a job title. For instance, you can say, I'm maybe a chef. They will be going to tell you, if you're a chef, what are the job description and everything. But there will be somewhere it's called the SVP range. On that SVP range, it will be a range maybe 1, 2, greater than 5, whatever. If that one is not greater, it's supposed to be 6 and above range. If it is a 6 and above range, it means that work experience qualifies to be added as a work experience. But if you say you selected the job which doesn't have, it means you will be denied the visa if you don't have high school, and it will depend on the work experience. And by depending on the work experience, it means you need to have a proof of that work experience. Remember, they need at least a minimum of 2 years in the last 5 years. So either you need to have a job contract, you need to have a letter from your supervisor, you need or employer, they have to write something. You need to come with the evidences. Just like when you say you have a bachelor degree, you come with a transcript. You cannot say I'm working at company A as a branch manager and you don't have any documentation to prove that you are working from that branch office from that particular company. So that is what you need to have. You need to have evidences over there to go with those evidences. Majority of people who don't have high school education, they depend on work experience. They are denied the visa because they do not know how to put it. Sometimes you might have a very good job, but because of the title you put, because maybe the terminology you use might be a wrong terminology, and that might be a little bit affecting you. So you need also to review on what you are doing and what is reflected on the online ONET of Department of Labor to see if you qualify based on the work experience. Remember, not every work experience is qualifying. It has to be a qualifying 2 years of work experience. That means you have either you want to study for that and you are going to work for that particular job which requires you to have those 2 years of work experience. Education in the diversity visa lottery. What education level is required for someone to apply for the diversity visa lottery? Before we go to what particular level, I want to assure you that when you are applying for the diversity visa lottery, the level of education has nothing to do with you being selected or not being selected as a winner of the diversity visa lottery. When they are doing selection, they don't care whether you have bachelor's degree, your primary school education, or your doctorate. They don't care. But once you win, you will need to have a certain level of education in order to be granted a diversity visa to become immigrant in the United States. So what exactly the level of education required? You are supposed to have at least, the keyword, at least high school education level. And when we say high school, is defined as 12 years of studies from primary school to high school. Whether you are starting with the kindergarten, but most likely some of the countries they start grade 1 to 12th grade. So it means you'll be going to the inside class for classroom instruction. You wear uniform, you go, whatever, if your country doesn't wear uniform, for 12 years. If you do correspondence education, doesn't count. Why? What do I mean like correspondence? For instance, in the United States, we have something called GED. So that is just like alternative education. Instead of going to the class as a normal to finish high school, you take the exam. I know in some of African countries we have some of those where you go to study tuition on your own, you take the exam as a private candidate, you can finish high school. That doesn't count. You must be in the class for 12 years to have a high school education. They are not going to look for the results, that whether you got A or not A, but the point is you have finished the high school and you need to have documentation to prove that. But what if you are currently a university student, or you went to school, you didn't finish university level? You select some university courses. If you are doing master's degree, if you finish bachelor, it will be bachelor's degree. If you are doing masters, it will say graduate courses, that means you are studying right now, or you have already masters. If you are studying PhD, it will say some doctorate courses, or you are finished, it will be PhD or doctorate in that way. There are some people, this is the confusion for some people in East Africa. In Kenya, Form 4 is high school. In Tanzania, in Uganda, for instance, Form 4 is not high school. So don't confuse. So if you finish high school, you finish high school. If you haven't finished high school, you haven't finished high school. There are some people finish certain level, primary school, secondary school, but not high school, then they go to do diploma. Or someone is finishing high school and then is going to do diploma. So if you haven't finished high school and you did a diploma, you have to select some vocational courses. But if you finish high school and you went to do a diploma, just put high school, because there is no a diploma as education level. Remember, that form is written in American context. A diploma in America is not education level, but rather is just the certification. The certificate you are given once you complete a certain level. If you finish primary, if you finish high school, if you finish bachelor degree, if you finish master's or PhD, the certificate you are being awarded in master's degree, bachelor degree, high school, that is called a diploma. So diploma is just a certificate you are given, living certificate in other words you can say. So don't confuse that way. So put the exactly the education level. If you are going to graduate maybe next year, don't put you have a degree already or you have high school already. Put the current level you have on the day you are applying. Once you win, there is almost 6-7 months ahead. If the results are coming out and when you are filling the DSC 260, the visa form, at that particular time, you are going to put the correct level of education you have on the day of the filling of that visa form. But on the day of application, put the current education level. Diploma level in the diversity visa lottery application. I want to clarify something which is happening to many people in especially Africa and Asia when they are applying for diversity visa lottery, or rather green card lottery. There are so many people who have diploma as education level, but when you go to the diversity visa lottery, the options you are given there to select, there is no the option of diploma. Why? It's very simple. In America, there is no education level called diploma. So for that particular case, you have to select the levels which are there. So I want to make it easier for you. There are some people who happen to have a diploma after finishing high school. So if you have a diploma but you finish high school, just select high school, because high school, if you have, you are good to go. But if you say vocational is a trade school, and there is no that you must have high school to have a trade school, to have a vocational. So don't put a vocational if you finish high school and you went to do the diploma level. So if you have a diploma but you finish high school, select high school. And if you have just the primary school, junior high school, not high school, you didn't go to high school and then you went straight to do a diploma, in that particular case, there is no diploma level, you will select the vocational education. Meaning you went to a trade school, you learn maybe things related to cooking, things related to IT, but it's a trade school. You studied mechanic, whatever it is, just put it that way. Meaning you don't have high school, but you went to a trade school to do something. And if you win without high school, regardless you have a diploma or not, you need also to have a backup of work experience to prove that you have qualifying 2 years of work experience. So that is to avoid any confusion, because a diploma, so many people have diploma and they believe that diploma is higher than high school, but in the form there is no a high school level of education, there is no a diploma level of education which you can select. So you have to be creative to find what will be the correct one in order to do that one. And for those who are doing high school and then they go to do a diploma, or you are doing diploma, and even if that diploma is given by the university, that is not a degree. So don't say some university courses. A diploma is not a university course, meaning taking you directly to leading you to have a degree. No, so a diploma is not a degree. So don't select some university courses, because they require you to have a degree or certain documents to prove that you are at the university level. Marito status in the diversity visa lottery application. When you are filling the DV lottery form, there is a question which requires you to put your marital status. And the number one will be unmarried. Unmarried, that means you are not married. There is no marital status of boyfriend and girlfriend. There is no about fiancé. There is no such thing. So if you are planning to get married tomorrow, but you are filling the visa form today, you are filling the visa lottery form today. Today you are still unmarried. So you are unmarried, even if you have 1 hour before you go to the altar for the marriage, you are still unmarried. So remember, I don't want to see, oh, I put in my fiancé, because I was planning to get married a month later. No. On the day of the application, if you are not married, you are unmarried. Let us start with that one. Then there is married, is the marital status. Married, there are two. There is married, but the spouse is American citizen or green card holder. I believe majority of you are not choosing that, because your spouse is living with in your country, is not a green card holder. Because if you put that one, you'll be in trouble in the future. You select, you are married, your spouse is not a green card holder or a US citizen. Is not. That means if you win, you want your spouse also to come with you in the United States. So that is another marital status. Then there is the aspect of being separated. Separated, it means you are married first, but the court has made a decision for you to be separated. Not you and your spouse have a marital conflict and you want to talk to the elders or to your relatives and you decided to separate. That doesn't count. What counts is a court of law to give an order that you are separated. So if you separate on your own without the court, that is not a separation. You are still married. There is no selecting and separated. Then there is widow and so forth. But if I come back to the marriage, remember, this is not just for green card lottery. If you are traditional married, why can't you go and also to the government and get the certificate of marriage? Because I know there are some people who are traditionally married. Yes, you can go ahead and put you are married. But remember, if you win, you need to go and get the marriage certificate from the government. So get the marriage certificate now then. It's not about the big wedding or whatever. They don't care about that. The US government, they wanted the certificate to prove that you are married. So if you are married, you put that one. And if you are married, a spouse, number one, a wife will apply as a principal applicant and finish everything and married to person A. Person A, the husband, will also go to fill the form and is be married to this woman. Meaning you have two chances of a spouse, husband to win and a wife to win. So you have two chances if you are married. Traditional marriage in the application of the diversity visa lottery. There are some countries, if you live with a woman in your house for maybe 6 months or 1 year, is it considered is your wife. There are some people, they do the traditional marriage, but they, in the end, they don't go to get the government certificate, but they're traditional married. So what happens if you have the traditional marriage and you want to apply for the diversity visa lottery? Yes, you are still married. What happens is you will fill the form as married, but you will need to have the marriage certificate once you win. You go to the government and you get the marriage certificate. But in addition to that, you will need to have documentations to prove that, yes, you had a traditional marriage. So whether on the day of the traditional marriage, you put the bride price, dowry, whatever you call it, you had all those processes and everything, you have those one, yes. But if you know for sure you don't have, it's okay to apply as unmarried and the other person is present married, and then you get married after the results. It's up to you. But just it's not about green card lottery. On your own, if you are traditional married, just going to get the marriage certificate, because something might happen. Maybe that person dies, and then it can complicate just in your own life, regardless whether you are planning to go to America or not. So traditional marriage, yes, is there. You can apply as a single if you want, but if you apply as married, make sure that you have the documentation beyond the marriage certificate, because the marriage certificate you give by the government will write the today's date, and you are traditional married maybe 5 years ago, so you need to prove that you have been married for 5 years ago, but on the traditional married basis. So that will be able to help you in one way or another. It happens in some cultures or in some of the religion where people are allowed to have more than one wife. So what happens if you want to apply for the diversity visa lottery and you are married? Let's say you are Muslim, you are allowed to have 4 wives, but let's say you have 2 or you have 3. Are you allowed to apply 2 times, that this one for wife 1 and the wife 2? Or if you have 3, is it allowed to apply that way? Or if you go to the traditional marriage in some of the cultures, maybe in most of African countries, some people, they are allowed to have more than one. What happens in that way? It is simple like this way. Remember, the diversity visa lottery is for you to go to the United States of America, meaning the laws of the United States will be the one applicable, not the laws of your country. And in the United States, polygamy is not allowed. You are not allowed to have more than one wife. You are not allowed to have more than one husband. It's not allowed. For that particular case, if you have more than one wife, you apply and you put just one. You do one application only. As a principal applicant, you put one person only. That's all. And if you win, you come with that person only. You are not coming with the 2 wives. Because when you fill the application form for the diversity visa lottery, when you click you are married, it will open only one space to fill. But if you say you have children, if you say 5, it will open a 5 spot. But if you say you are married, then it can come like how many wives you have, how many husbands you have. No, it's just one spouse to add in the diversity visa lottery. So make sure that you understand that whatever you choose, they don't care whether it's the first wife, the second wife. That's you and your religion, you and your preferences, you and your tribe, whatever culture, is you who is making that decision. There is one question frequently asked about applying for the diversity visa lottery, especially for people who are married. The question is, if I'm married, am I allowed to apply as a principal applicant and put my wife, and my wife also allowed to apply and put me as a derivative, or rather a dependent? Meaning, a husband and wife both allowed to apply as a principal applicant in the diversity visa lottery? The answer is very simple. It's yes. It's yes because if you meet the qualifications to apply for the diversity visa lottery, you are allowed to apply. And this is the advantage when you are married. A husband says, I'm married to so and so. You put the name of your wife, you put the photo, place of birth, all those information, and then the wife will say, I'm married, and I'm married to so and so. You put the information of the other person and the photo. Remember, the photo you are using must meet the qualification. The photo of the principal applicant and the photo of the derivative both must meet the qualifications of the diversity visa lottery. We'll talk in detail about this photo requirement. But this is the advantage. If you are married, both apply, but you must include your spouse. And if one of you wins the diversity visa lottery, both are allowed to come. If the wife wins, both husband and wife can come. And if you have children, obviously they come. If the husband wins, both they come. And I emphasize this one because I have a perfect example where there are a Tanzanian couple, husband and wife. They apply for the first time. When they apply for the first time, the husband won the DV lottery. But because Tanzania was put in the travel ban 1 month before, or 2 months, it was 1 month before the interview, Tanzania was the travel ban, so they were not able to come, they were not able to go for the interview. But again, they applied as husband and wife, both of them won the DV lottery. So, but I feel they filled the DSC 260, but they used one person, then they come to the United States. Up to now, they are still there. So make sure that this coming DV lottery, you both, if you are married, husband and wife, you must both apply to increase your chances of winning the DV lottery. There are some stories in the street, and the people sometimes make mistakes in applying for the diversity visa lottery by being told that the US government prefers people who are married in the diversity visa lottery, or the preference is given to people who are married. That is not the fact. That is not the truth. So for that case, you find the people who are not married, they think that they have to lie and they say, I'm married, and the other person is putting this one, and that means they think that they have chances of winning just by being put the marital status of married. The truth is, the US government, the diversity visa lottery doesn't care, doesn't pay attention whether you are married, whether you are not married. It doesn't matter for them. They're not going to select people just because they are married. They're not going to select people just because they are single. No. What we say is, people who are married have higher chances of winning than single people, only if those people who are married apply, both of them, husband and wife, they apply as a principal applicant. If the husband applies a principal applicant, says he's married to this woman, and this woman is going to apply and is married to this husband, means those people have 2 chances of winning. That's why we say people who are married. But if you are married and only one applies, like if your husband and wife are married, and then the wife is only one applying, that person applying is, even if there are two, one person applies has the equal chance of a single unmarried person, because if you are unmarried, you make one application. Each person makes one application. So if you are unmarried, you make one application. If you are married and both husband and wife, but one applies, you are 1 and 1. But husband and wife, if they apply, it will be 2 against 1. So the higher chance of winning of 2 is higher than 1. That's why we say if you are married, you have higher chance of winning. But doesn't mean that the US government prefers and give priority to people who are married. No, they don't care whether you are married or you are not married.